in the stock.
Six figures is difficult today, right? That used to be the pinnacle that you would run to. But to make a six-figure income in society right now is very difficult, right? They're trying to ask you what you want to do with your whole life. When you're 16, 17 years old, all you can concentrate is, what you're going to do with your girlfriend on Friday night or your boyfriend on Friday night. And they want you to make those decisions. And, they teach you ultimately what to think. And then you go to college, they teach you when to think, right? And then you kind of go with this whole entire mindset of this is the rest of my life. And here's what's going on. There's people that are making millions of dollars in their pajamas that have 0 degrees, that haven't spent any money on school, right? And it's this exact same, you saw it in the crypto wave, right? Everybody they got in the early crypto wave, right? The early Bitcoin adopters, all that stuff, right? If you understand what's happening and how we're shifting and how wealth is transferring, people talk about a recession. Recession is nothing other than a transfer of wealth. Right, I'm going to tell you right now, they're not telling you how to capitalize on a recession in the school system right now, right? So financial illiteracy, I would say, is probably the biggest pandemic that has ever hit society, and I think that ever will hit society. And there's a reason for it, right? They want us to stay dumbed down, right? Because if we stay dumbed down, Travis, ultimately, that's how they keep the handcuffs on us.
We remain dependent. We remain dependent, and they've done a really good job of teaching us how to become, how to make money, but they haven't taught us how to manage money and ultimately how to multiply money. And that's essentially what we are doing and what we're offering through the educational services that we provide. I want to just talk for a moment about just what's going on in the world today. We look at the stock market, lost $9 trillion last year. People's 401ks are going to 301ks. If you look at, the confidence right now from larger investors and just in general, the financial market stability risk indicator in 2023, do you guys realize that the current reading is below that seen during the Great Recession and the dot-com bubble? So confidence across the board right now is not looking very good when it comes to institutional money, when it comes to most of the top wealth management firms that are out there today. The buying power of the dollar. Let's talk about that. In 1971. They had to have gold for every single dollar that they printed. And today, well, they removed the gold standard in 1971. And what's happened to the dollar since that time? It's just gone. Lost 86% of its value since that time. And we continue to print more and more and more money. And I'm just going to say this: if you don't understand what's happening right now at the banking level, at the Federal Reserve level, and you don't really understand what they're doing to you and your savings, then you're missing something that's very important, which is they are wrecking your savings. They are printing money and printing money and printing money. And unfortunately, you go to work. We've been taught, Corey, to save as much money as we can, right? So that we can retire one day. Well, if I'm doing that and all I'm doing is saving money, am I going to be able to get ahead in this environment?
0 chance. So you think about this, right? What do they say? The cost of or inflation is going up, what? They say 9% or something like that. They don't factor in the cost of living into there, right? It's more like 29%, right? You go buy a gallon of milk lately, right? A loaf of bread, a bottle of water, right? You know what I mean? I was actually watching Roy's presentation last night. He was talking about a bottle of water is almost more than gasoline nowadays, right? If you actually look at the value. So this guys, listen to this: 80% of the entire money supply has been printed in the last 2 years.
Crazy.
How is that sustainable, right? I remember back in 2016, we were 114% over our GDP. That was double the amount of the rest of the world combined. Where are we going to be at in another 2 years, right? So ultimately there is access to information during these times that you could ultimately capitalize to maybe prevent some of that damage that happens out there, right? Ultimately, that's for you to decide. But, obviously, I think when things get ugly, Travis, I'm sure you've experienced this in life and in business, right? It's like when things get ugly in the world, if you're on the right side of the information, things can get really good.
Well, think about 2008 and 2009. I unfortunately was on the wrong side of the boat back then. We had owned some health clubs earlier on and sold those, moved to Utah, and I decided to get involved in real estate. So we started buying lots, and then we started building homes. And we had 4 homes being built right in the mid 2008, and then somebody started talking about subprime loans not performing well on Wall Street. Who was part of that experience? And so those homes that we were building for X amount of dollars ended up being worth about 30% on the dollar. And but on the flip side of the coin, there was somebody that was sitting and positioning themselves because of their education, because of their knowledge, waiting for that moment. And I can tell you that homes that I had 4 homes that we were building right at around the $800,000 range. They were appraised at about 1.3 to 1.5. That's what our net profits would have been on those homes. We sold them for $300,000. I had no choice. And so, but there was somebody on the other side of that coin that bought those homes for $300,000, right? So it's all about developing income producing assets and developing and acquiring enough revenue that you can position yourself and look for those type of opportunities. And as Corey, you're mentioning right now, as things are falling, I mean, I was reading just today, you just realize that the debt, the consumer or national debt right now is as high as it was during the Great Depression. High interest rates, even car prices right now are leading to record loans and record debt. They're saying that as much as 17% of the car loans that have been given out in the last 24 months are right on the verge of being delinquent and seriously delinquent. Think about that for a moment. Why? Because people are going into debt. They're struggling. Their dollar is not going as far. And in addition to that, you're looking at about 43% of the average household income to pay a mortgage right now if you were to go and buy a home, just the average home in the United States today. So guys, there's clearly, the society and the system is broken. And that's really why this company was created. Again, it's to teach you not only how to learn how to make money, but again, to manage that money. It's one thing, and I've been there before, I've learned how to make money, and for a very good period of time, I would say 10 to 15 years, I was good at 2 things: making money and spending money. Like I could spend it as fast as I made. It was actually really impressive, Corey. It was like I would go back at the end of a month and I'd be like, where did all my money go?
what does it cost per month?
Yeah, like what is going on here? That was where I was really good at making it. I was really the talent, a special talent, I'm telling you guys. But it's a whole other thing when you start to make money, and then you have to start making choices about, okay, how do I manage this money? I have money now coming in. Where do I put it? Like, what do I do with it? Where do I develop the greatest returns? How do I put that money to work for me? And then ultimately multiplying that money. And that's where IX Global came from. That was our foundation. We started, Joe Martinez started this company in 2020, generated over 4.6 million in revenue. And that, guys, was right at the peak of COVID. In the first 6 months of launching the business, right in mid 2020, 2021, there was 22 million in sales, which is very respectful. They started in Salt Lake City, but he actually launched the business in India first. It's a really cool story. He was a network marketer for 15, 16 years because of some decisions that were made in one of the companies he was a part of. CEOs sometimes have this magical superpower of making decisions that can sometimes affect us in the field in a negative way. Where you've never experienced that before, have you? I've never experienced that, right? But,
no.
So he started the company. He had $6,000 to his name, and he had spent 2 years as a consultant helping the company he was previously with launch India. And when he finally launched it and the business was starting to grow, that company was acquired, and the new owner came in and basically said, "We're shutting down India." And he says, "You can't do this. I just have spent all my time and resources." And the guy says, "Well, if you think you can do it better, do it yourself." And so he literally said, "Okay, I'm gonna go get my own back office. I've got $6,000, and we're gonna make this work." And so he launched the company. He had somebody that he believed in. That individual had not made more than $5,000 a month in network marketing, and they launched the company. And in their third year, 2022, We just wrapped up 206 million in revenue, guys. Fastest momentum company in the world. And by the way, that guy that had not made more than 5 million a month just about 3 years ago is now the #1 income earner in the world in network marketing because of this company. So pretty cool story. And what's great is that now, look, at the end of the day, if you want to create time freedom, I always talk about your financial freedom days. The day that you no longer have to trade time for dollars, you can do the things that you want to do rather than the things that you have to do. Well, how do you do that? It's all about developing passively. Doing a big
I think Travis is frozen. Is that just me, Corey?
Oh, I thought it was me. I thought I went out. My internet just dinged. He's actually controlling the slides here. Hold on, let me see if I can get him fixed. Oh, thank God it's not me. Okay, he's rejoining. There you are, buddy. All right, we got you back. You're muted though. Still muted. All right, hold on. Let me fix you.
There we go. All right.
There you are.
Those of you that you guys were following my lips, you know what I was saying. Sorry, I don't know what happened. The signal must have just.
I thought it was me. I thought my internet went out.
I did too. I was like,
it's not falling on me.
The bottom line is we've been looking for an additional revenue stream opportunity that we could introduce to the field. And Corey and I started talking a few months ago. Corey initially said, what can we do to get these X nodes over-driven trading? And ultimately, collaboration was born, the idea of that collaboration, and here we are. And we are so excited about introducing driven trading, just the same way that many of you are excited about the nodes. I've been talking all day, so my words aren't working anymore. But Corey, I want to ask you specifically,
Losing you again, buddy. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can get him booted up here. Alex, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, I think it's on his end. All right, guys, just give us 1 second here. I'm going to get him reconnected here. I know. Look at him. It looks like he's crying here. So, guys, while we're waiting for Travis to come on here, what Travis is probably getting ready to say is that, one of the things that, we're really excited to announce is that, as we started to look at ways to really grow and impact people, right? We first and foremost, I want to give my hat off, to Mr. Joe Martinez, because the guy, to start a company that just has done over $206 million in its 3rd year in business, starting that company with only $6,000 in his pocket is truly remarkable, guys. Shows a testament of how good of a CEO that is. Just want you guys to know, so we started driven trading back in April of 2022, and I put over $2 million into that company. $2 million to get it to the point of now where we are collaborating. $2 million, right? So it's like to start a company at $6,000 and grow to $200 million in 3 years should be a testament to how good of a CEO Mr. Joe Martinez is. So when I reached out to Travis back in October and I said, Travis, listen, I'm looking for a product that I can offer my community. Travis and I have been really good friends for a long time. I knew he would shoot me straight. He said, let me see what I can do. So ultimately, we went back and forth on how ultimately I was going to be able to offer the X nodes that you're about to learn about. And it's one of the most incredible, impressive things I've ever seen and ever been a part of in my life. But one of the things that we did, we said, hey, listen, Corey, at the same time that you're looking to bring these into your community, we are really looking to up the game in the trading space. See, guys, most people out in the world, any type of education system that you've ever seen in the financial markets where they're trying to teach you Forex or binary options or anything like that, right? They're telling you the idea of making money in the financial markets, but they don't actually do it, right? You're learning from people that don't actually do it. What I wanted to do was a little bit different, right? I wanted to put together a team that I could run like a Wall Street hedge fund. By the way, I've been in the private equity space for the last 7 years. I had a top 1% grossing portfolio, one of the largest brokers in the world, 4 consecutive years in the top 15,000 of profitable portfolios in the futures market, S&P 500. And I was ultimately living my life behind a computer screen, making rich people richer. That's how I spent my life. And I got very wealthy doing it, right? Ferrari in the garage, the $1 million home, had all of the things that, you would see from somebody who was like that, but I was miserable, right? My life sucked, right? When you interact with your computer every day and that's your whole life, and there's really no purpose and no passion. So, in 2020, when I came back into this industry, serving people, teaching, coaching, I did it really out of necessity. I saw so many people falling victim to these scam trading operations where none of these people had ever even made money in the financial markets, yet they're teaching you how to do this. This isn't something where you sign up and you stock a whole bunch of product in your shelf, right? This isn't one of those things where they sell you in the juice business and you have a whole bunch of juice that you now have in your shelf. This is people's 401ks, IRAs, money that a lot of times, if they're trusting you, they will lose everything. And I got sick of seeing it. So we decided to go out there and do it ourselves, putting together a world-class trading team. And we run that team like a Wall Street hedge fund, right? They have to maintain 60% win rate, averaged out every 90 days on contract. If they lose 3 positions in a row, they have to get permission and get mentored before they take that next position. We have a robust academy, crypto, options, futures, right? Anything that it trades, we trade it. And we trade our live accounts. You log in 10 hours a week with me, I'm trading my live TD Ameritrade account. You can't fake that. Right? You can see that it's real-time data. You see the wins, you see the losses, you see the transparency. We teach you everything we know. We're not the company that's going to come out there and say, listen, we're just going to give you this much and make you pay $25,000 to get the rest. We give it all to you, all of it, because we truly want to change people's lives. We wanted to build a company that stood firm on developing a world-class trading education product, a world-class trading education product. That was our mission, to teach people how to make money in the financial markets. The X nodes and the commodity-backed crypto operation was just us adding icing on the cake for the driven community. And as we kind of sat down and came together, Joe and I and Travis really facilitated all of this, right? So hats off to Travis. We really came to something very special, right? That we were on the exact same path. We're all friends. Why are we competing against each other? Why wouldn't we just merge this? Right? You run the trading side of this business, we run the X-Node side of this business, and together we unify these teams, these organizations, these communities of people that are hungry to do more, to be more, to become more in life, and we can achieve it. Build the most powerful trading education platform in the world. We got 2 Series 3 licensed educators, Series 65. I'm actually going for my Series 31 now, right? Adding another securities license. So these are people that do this for a living, that manage massive money, right? Hedge funds, portfolios, right? People that come out of Wall Street, right? That work in our trading team. And we have it in multiple languages as well. And we're going to be adding more languages as we move down this path, and especially now here with IX Global. I'm sure we're going to be launching in the Hindi soon. And I know we have an Arabic educator that's looking to join us right now, a Mandarin educator that we're evaluating right now. So we are about keeping a small team that's extremely efficient, that are the world-class educators and the pioneers in their space, what they trade. And this isn't just one of those things where you're only trading Forex, right? Like, for example, I trade the S&P 500 E-mini futures market, right? You can trade a self-directed portfolio with those things. We teach you everything that we know. And then multiple days a week, right? 6 days a week, multiple times per day, we show you how to apply everything that you're learning in real time to the markets, where you get to see exactly where we get in, exactly how we get out, right? Exactly how to enter that trade, exactly how to manage your risk, how to calculate your risk, everything, right? From I've never looked at a chart before in my entire life to the most advanced education you could possibly imagine. We got it all, right? We got it all. And we also have technologies that we have developed and that we are currently developing that will help you earn money while you're learning the skill. It doesn't get more powerful than that. So we're really excited to be able to offer driven trading to the IX Global community. And I know together we're going to achieve that $500 million goal this year and beyond. But I want you to know this, and I want you to ask yourself this question: what does that look like for you and your family? Because it doesn't matter what we're going to go out and achieve. What does it mean for you? Okay. So, as Travis comes back on here and starts positioning you guys to understand how powerful the rest of this model is, I want you guys to ask yourself this question as you're going through the rest of this presentation tonight. If not this, then what? Like, what is your plan B? because things are changing, whether you want them to change or not. Things are changing. There's not going to be too much you can do to stop it. It's happening. There has never been a better time in history to learn information that can position you to capitalize on what's happening. And this, I truly believe, based on all my business experience and with an unbiased opinion, right? With unbiased, this is the best opportunity that I have seen for the average ordinary person to win extremely big, extremely big. But it is going to require work, and it's going to require time. You're going to have to put some energy into it. You're going to have to learn some new things, but you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable just for a little bit to become comfortable for the rest of your life, right? It's a short amount of time that you will apply to this, and you will get results for the rest of your life. I don't think there's any skill more essential to the American dream or any dream in the world than learning how to make money with your money. I truly believe that. I stand by that quote. It's a quote that I said right when we launched this company. I truly believe there's no skill more essential to the American dream or any dream for that matter than learning how to make money with your money. Travis, would you agree on that? Or do we got you back here, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. Well said. Got to switch over hours. Not sure what's going on in Queen Creek, Arizona today, but no, I think what you said was perfect, and I love when you talked about just learning a new skill. I think that as we get older, we tend to start settling, right? I've observed that people tend to start settling in. They start to accept that maxed out credit cards and broken dreams are the norm, right? They start lowering their expectations. And I think that just like water, when we tend to stop learning and stop growing and stop pursuing, we start to get stale. And whenever we are learning and pursuing and we're stepping outside of our comfort level, that's ultimately when we're growing the most. And that's why we're here on this earth. And so I agree with you. There is no more powerful skill to learn than how to manage your money. So I want to ask you one question about the trading before we go on, because I know there's a lot of people that are watching tonight. We've got a great audience. You've done a great job of explaining what sets drip-and trading apart. Help me understand, for somebody that's a novice, somebody like me, right? I've never really gotten involved in trading. And I think that some might even say, gosh, it seems intimidating. I see a bunch, Corey, people will say to me, do you see the candlestick? Do you see it? I'm like, no, I just see a bunch of lines that are going up and down, right? So you see things that we don't see. And so one of the questions that somebody asked is, hey, look, I don't have a lot of time. And yes, I would like to learn this, but man, what if I just wanted a trader to do the trading? I don't want them to do the trading for me. I know that that's illegal, and you can't have any type of systems that just execute the trade on my behalf. But is there something that I could just initiate, like something simple, really easy, that I could follow what they're doing? And man, if I'm and they're doing it well, and I know that they're skilled, I'd rather them be making those decisions and ultimately me just making the decision to be able to do the same thing. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we've developed, and actually there might be a slide for this, Travis, if you want to just go maybe one more forward.
Yeah.
We've actually developed an application. Actually, maybe it's not in here yet, but we developed an application that gives you the idea to see what's in our minds at all times. So it looks like this on your phone. Okay. So when you go into your phone and you log into this application, you're going to actually see. It's like having a professional trader mentor in your pocket telling you what to do next, right? We're giving you all of the ideas of what we're looking at in the market in real time every single day. And when we send those out, like for example, I took a trade today on S&P 500 long after the big sell-off and liquidation happened from the Fed speech, right? You don't have to know all that stuff, because what I did is I sent out a signal of exactly where I was entering the market, exactly what my profit targets are, and exactly where the trade fails in case it goes the other way. And ultimately, there's these copy buttons. You can copy and paste that right into your broker, or however you want to do it for learning experiences, of course. But ultimately, you're following along with what we're doing in the market in real time every single day from every single one of our traders. We also have artificial intelligence, and we have some other technology that we do have that is available with the application. We will work through legality and different things like that with attorneys to see what part of that we can turn on, but we actually can fully automate it. Now, obviously, in the United States and certain countries, that is not legal. So we do have to get some legal compliance on that, but we do have the ability to, right? There might be some approval processes that we can go through in the United States where maybe you just approve it and confirm it, right? But those are things that we're going to be meeting about. But we do have it. We actually released it to our community in April, gave everybody a little taste of it. And it's a full trade management software. So not only does it execute, right, on your behalf, but it fully manages the position for you, peeling off percentages of profits as the market's going up or going down, right? So it's like having a professional trader in your pocket, but it's software, right? So just like Xnodes is software, right? It's software. So we're going to see how much of that code we can actually introduce to the application. But as of right now, there's performance records of every single trader that we have. And you're talking about traders that do 50,000, 60,000 pips a year, right? 50,000, 60,000 pips with maybe 2,000 pips negative per year, right? These are big time traders that are trading big boy markets, NASDAQ, S&P 500, Hong Kong markets, and, DAX, and, FTSE, like all the big boy markets that you can actually trade with any type of portfolio that you have. So it's not just Forex for us. We focus on a lot of the bigger markets. We do have Forex educators as well. And we have probably one of the top, arguably, binary options traders in the world that actually trades NADEX, which is compliant, right? So you don't have to worry about getting your money lost in all those offshore brokers, right? This is real stuff that we're doing. I think he went on like a 95% win rate over the last 6 months. We have his results published all over the place, but he's incredible. So if you guys want to learn that stuff, we got it. You're a crypto educator, world class as well, from spot trading, derivatives trading, all of it. We got it covered. So we're excited to have everybody tune into Driven and tune into our lives. And, you can access it right now in your back office. So as soon as you get started, as soon as you get plugged in, you can access the product. And we're giving it to everybody. Travis, I'll let you kind of, maybe give it that little teaser as we go through. It's not $25,000 like, the big brokers in the world want to charge for the education, right? It's very reasonable, and it's ultimately about giving as much value as we can to really maximize our output and really hit people all around the world from all different walks of life to truly impact them.
Outstanding. Well, people are fired up about it. You can get it in the back office by X Global if you're an active member. It is now in your add-ons. Once they add it, Corey, there'll be, I imagine, some level of an invitation that gets them plugged in, or something that kind of gets them to that next step once they add the driven trading, right? So the team is working on all of those things and connecting the dots. Aaron, I asked that question for you, so I know he's on here and he's like, I don't have time to learn it. Can I just trust Corey and these guys and just do what they're doing? So anyways, I'm excited about that. Let's talk a little bit about, let's shift gears for a moment now. Talk a little bit about another fantastic software that was recently brought to the table in 2022 that absolutely just rocked. Absolutely rocked the entire industry and even in the world. We've now, we've picked something like 65 countries and hundreds of millions of licenses, billions of licenses that have been sold. It's been exciting to be a part of bringing this to market here in the United States. And I want to just share a little story with you. So, for those of you that have not heard of debt, debt, when I first heard those words, Corey, I was like, debt, that's kind of an interesting name. Like debt is it kind of has, I have associated it as a negative connotation, right? And so when I realized and understood what they were doing, debt is about helping people to get out of debt. How many of you know somebody that's going to go to bed tonight saying a prayer asking for financial solutions? Raise your hand. Drop an I in the comment section. Every single one of you, right? Every single one of you. You see, the thing is that as we continue to go into debt, we become a slave to debt. And as we become a slave to debt, unfortunately, we no longer are in control of the decisions that we make in our lives, because at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we work really, really hard, make that money, and the money that we could put to work for us that would give us ultimately freedom goes to paying the interest, right? And then we end up in that vicious circle, and it's a downward spiral, especially right now. And so what debt is doing is they're helping people to get out of debt around the world. This is a company that was established 15 years ago, or 15 years in the making, I should say. And it's a really, really cool story because Jason and Jake Anderson just have a remarkable background. First of all, Jason Anderson comes from, venture capital, raising funds, managed a hedge fund. He jokes now and he says, his early claim to fame is he got involved in Bitcoin when it was $100 per coin. Can you imagine that today, getting in at $100 a coin? Maybe there's some people that were on here that did that. And then he sold at $500 a coin. And he brought all of his investors with him. And they thought he was a genius when he had 5x their money until what happened, right? Bitcoin, we all have that story, right? At some point, some of us heard of Bitcoin somewhere along that continued, scaling up. And so that was kind of his first introduction to cryptocurrency. He immediately was fascinated and fell in love with crypto. Why? Because it was decentralized. It was getting the banks out of the middle of our transactions, right? It was allowing Corey and I to be able to do a transaction, a peer-to-peer transaction, the way that it was intended, without somebody looking over our shoulder and saying, well, what's this for? Why are you doing this? And even now, some of you have experienced this, but banks, I mean, guys, how many of you love walking into a bank and making a deposit? Let's say that you happen to have a little bit of cash and they want to know exactly where that money came from. How many of you love sending a wire to somebody and then scrutinizing you about what that wire is about and holding on to your funds? I was trying to send somebody funds overseas, and it was a decent amount of money. And I'm telling you, it was like interrogation, Corey. It was like third degree interrogation. And not only that, but then when they finally decided to send it, it takes a couple of days, and they're charging me a tremendous amount of money. And here's the deal. I turned around and I sent the same amount of money, and I sent it in crypto, and it arrived within 30 seconds, and it cost me about 30 cents. So here's the deal. Crypto is faster, it's more efficient, it's cheaper, and that is the reason why cryptocurrency is the future. 4% of the population state currently owns a cryptocurrency wallet. Now, that's exciting in a period of about 12 years. That's super exciting. But I don't even know if I would say we're still in the disruption phase, right? I don't even know if we've truly entered even the early adoption. I can't talk. Early adoption phase. We are right now, and it's still in those early stages. And I can tell you this. Here's the exciting thing. It's going to go from 4% to 10% over the course of the next 1 to 2 years. 4% to 10%. Think about that growth. Corey, my question is, what is going to be the catalyst? What is going to be the catalyst that moves that number from 4% to 10%? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think one of the biggest reasons why people haven't gotten involved in Bitcoin yet, right, for the people who haven't, is they think that Bitcoin needs to be backed by something, right? Well, what's Bitcoin backed by? They don't understand their dollar is not backed by anything, but that's ultimately the number one thing that you probably hear is, well, Bitcoin's not backed by anything, it's Fugazi. Well, so is a dollar in your pocket, but what if you had cryptocurrency that was actually backed by substance, real tangible assets like commodities, like oil, like natural gas, like gold, like real estate? What if you could actually back currency with real world assets that have real world value? I think it will go beyond 10% with what that is doing, to be honest.
Well, and that's exactly what DET has done, is they are the first in the world to introduce an ecosystem where every single cryptocurrency is backed by real world assets that are in high demand. And let's think about this for a moment. Let's just go back to the last bull run. The last bull run was driven by a lot of hype, a lot of speculation. You had coins that have cute little puppies and dogs and all these things that are on them. Many of them have absolutely no utility. And I'm going to tell you something right now. A true asset should not fluctuate 80 to 90% because Elon Musk tweets about it, or because Kim Kardashian tweets about it, right? And so what we've seen is a lot of this manipulation in the industry. And it's one of the key reasons why there's only 4% of the world that currently has a cryptocurrency wallet. So what is going to be the catalyst that moves that forward, Corey? You're exactly right. It is substance over hype. It is tangibility over speculation. And that is exactly what DebtBox has introduced. And I'm even more excited that IX Global has become the exclusive direct selling wholesaler for DebtBox. What does that mean? It means that if you want to go pay retail, you can go buy licenses directly from Debt for more money. You can buy the same exact licenses from us for wholesale, and you will not find them anywhere else in the entire world. So back in June, IX Global created this partnership. We introduced these nodes, and the world just absolutely went crazy. It absolutely went crazy. So Jason and Jake Anderson, as well as Roy Nelson and Chad Brannon, they are the founders of the company. This is your debt council that ultimately is making decisions on behalf of debt. A lot of people don't know this, Corey, but the reality is that we just introduced voting rights within our community. And the reason why they've done that is because this is something that they don't want to be artwork, and they don't want it to to ultimately die with them. They want it to continue to go on and on for generations to come. And so at the end of the day, they want the node holders to be the ones that are making the decisions on behalf of debt. And so that's the reason why we've introduced voting rights, which I think is very, very important because it's essentially like, I liken it to almost shareholders in a way, where we have the ability to be able to have say in where we go and ultimately even what projects that are introduced next. And so I really enjoyed that. But Jake and Jake Anderson, Jason's background is in financial services. Jake Anderson came more from the marketing side and sales side of things. Roy and Chad Brannon have been heavily involved in the physical mining world for the last 20 years. mining things like gold and oil and diamonds. And they introduced a new technology that has the ability to be able to scan the earth and identify commodities that are in the ground. And when I say identify them, we're not talking about, okay, within a quarter of a mile area, we know that the gold is somewhere over there. We have the ability to pinpoint to within a few feet where these commodities are in the ground. The same way that an MRI is kind of reading the frequencies, what we're doing is we're identifying the frequencies that are coming off of these different commodities, these different elements. For example, copper has a different frequency than gold. Gold puts off a different frequency than oil. And so we have the ability to be able to pick up those frequencies, and we can tune out all of the other frequencies and hone in on what it is that we are looking for. Now, you can imagine the value to an exploratory company, that spends hundreds of millions of dollars, in many cases, digging wells, that 50% or more of them are dry, trying to identify exactly where the oil is or where to enter into a chamber to maximize the extraction process of natural gas. And so, they came up with the idea to be able to shift sides. Instead of being the actual people that are out there mining, what if they made the mining industry that much more efficient? And so they started providing these services to mining companies, and they have now become the Uber of the mining industry. And what do I mean by that? Well, Uber is the largest transportation company in the world that has no vehicles, right? You have VRBO is the largest vacation company in the world that has no vacation homes. In the same way, what they have done is they have now become the facilitator to all kinds of different exploratory companies. And as a result of that, we are receiving royalties. Those royalties are ultimately supporting the value of all of the projects that we have. You've had a chance to meet these guys, Corey. What was your impression when you sat down with Jason and Jake and you had a chance to be able to listen to Roy and Shad? What was your impression?
Well, first of all, I gotta say, man, I sat at the table with a lot of sharp people, right? A lot of really sharp people in my life. I've been very blessed and fortunate to, work with people in billionaire status, right? And work with people that have made $7-8 billion. When I, started to really just evaluate this project as a whole, obviously the very first thing that I'm sure you came up with your mind, or anybody really comes up with, is, well, this can't be real. like, come on, man. Like, I even saw one of the comments said, I know somebody who tried to back crypto with gold a couple years. I know people who've tried to do it too, unsuccessfully, right? So the very first thing for me was, I got to see if this is real, because if this is real, and I know my buddy Travis is not going to be shouting from the rooftops about this company if he hasn't found something out, right? So I got to go find it out. And I'm going to tell you right now, I sat down with these guys and I was blown away. I thought I met a lot of smart people in my life, but when I sat down with these guys, they're playing in a whole different league. I don't know what goes on in the brains of them, right? I have no idea, but they've been in this game for a long time. They're very seasoned. They are arguably probably the top crypto authorities, I believe, in the world. I have not met with anybody smarter. I've sat down in the VIP lounges at some of the biggest crypto conferences in the world. I have not sat down with any gentleman that have been smarter than these guys right here, and what they're doing is truly remarkable. That's my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. And the fact that they have been able to, pioneer this technology and really we are light years ahead of anybody else. One of the questions that often comes up is, are we the only ones that have this technology? Well, there is one other company that's in Europe that has a similar technology that they're not even using right now. And we are light years ahead when it comes to the relationships that we've established throughout the world. For example, in Ghana now, it is by law, if you're going to drill in that country, you have to use our satellite technology. Why? Because it helps prevent strip mining and destroying their land. Because with our technology, we have the ability to precisely be able to identify these different commodities and even prevent, these villages, these cocoa where these people have lived on their cocoa farms for the last 200 years. And prior to this, you had, Chinese that would come in, for example, and they would literally strip mine the land. They didn't care. They would uproot an entire village and farm just to be able to get to the commodities. And unfortunately and sadly, that was happening. And so, we've made a tremendous impact as a result of this technology. With that technology on the physical side, we're probably the only company in the world that we're doing mining both physically as well as digitally. And so we decided, because of the relationships that we have, and because of the royalties that come in, and we're going to break that down here in just a moment so that you understand that a little bit more, we thought, what if we were the first in the world to really bring a cryptocurrency to the market that was truly backed by a real world commodity that's in high demand. Now, some of you say, well, I heard a couple of years ago, some people tried to, back a coin by gold. Well, here's the thing, we all could go right now and we could lease a gold mine. We can lease a gold mine that they are now selling leases to because it doesn't make financial sense to go and extract the gold out of the ground for whatever reason, because of maybe the sediment that it's in or because of the difficulty that it would take. It would actually cost more money to be able to go and remove the gold. And so essentially that gold in that well it has very little value. And so what do? They start selling leases. Now, if I bought a lease for you, I could go out and you and I, we could launch our own token tomorrow. And guess what? We could back it with. We could back it with gold. We could back it with, right? Gold that is in the ground that's never been extracted. So there's a big difference between something along those lines and essentially what we're doing here. And I'm going to break it down a little further in so that you truly understand what makes us different. But we launched Black Gold as our first token. And it's been about 15 months ago now. And this was backed by the royalties that were coming in from the crude oil sales from our many different oil partners that we had around the world. And Corey, people went crazy. They absolutely went crazy because why? Because they're so tired of these meme coins and pump and dumps and these rug pulls that have been happening over and over again, that the moment that they saw some level of tangibility, they said, this is something that I want to be a part of. And so, in the early days, BGLD, when it first launched, it was a couple $1,000s per license, and it was producing about 40,000 tokens per day. And one of the benefits of getting involved in projects when they first launch is that you are one of the early adopters onto the network, which means that the payouts of tokens is much higher. Now, that may sound like a lot of tokens, but guys, that was about $3 to $4 per day. Well, somebody might say, well, gosh, I don't know, $3 to $4 a day. I mean, for $2,000 investment, it's going to take me X amount of days to be able to get to the point where I'm breaking even. I don't know if that makes sense. Well, if you continue to do the math over the course of the next 50, 100 years, it does make sense, even at that level. But here's what happened. So even though it was only about $3 a day, fast forward 3, 4, 5, and 6 months, BGLD went up 120,000%. Mind you, this was during a time where the rest of the cryptocurrency industry was absolutely crashing. It created, at that point in time, when I got involved in June, they had created a 7-figure portfolio holder every 3 days inside of their ecosystem. Why? Because of tangibility, because of substance, because of real world value. I've always known, Corey, the moment that somebody tokenized a commodity, fortunes would be made. Now, what I mean by that is, we've seen a lot of the hype and the speculation and all of these things, but I've always thought, man, if somebody were to back a token or a coin the same way that the dollar used to be backed by gold, meaning they wouldn't even print a dollar, they wouldn't even, have a coin that comes into circulation without the equivalent backing it with an actual commodity, that's when fortunes would be made. And that's exactly what happened with Black Gold.
Yeah, and I look at the story behind this, Travis, and one of the things that was super impressive to me is to see, well, why do oil companies partner with these guys? Like, I don't get it. Like, what makes it so special? One of the things that I saw in that new interview that you just posted recently, I think it's a really powerful case to mention. These oil companies spend millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars trying to just locate oil. Right? There's a project that was out in Ghana that took these guys. These guys were 3 years into production on this mine with $15 million invested, and they just started to mine that oil. These guys, Roy Nelson, the debt partners, right, with their connections with the scan technology, they could have had that project ready to go in 6 weeks for probably $750,000 to $1 million. So you can imagine when these oil companies are saving tens of millions of dollars by using these guys and these companies. They don't have to be the miners. They don't have to be the experts like Western Oil and stuff. They just partner with them and say, we'll find it, and you just give us a royalty. We'll save you all this money on the front end, and you give us a little kicker on the back end. And here was another thing that was really interesting to me too, Travis. When we went out to Utah and I sat down with these guys, I said, well, how do you know that, like Nebraska, for example, where one of the biggest mines are, which Travis will show here in a little bit, I said, how do you know they're going to pay you? And he's like, our contract isn't with the oil mine. Our contract is with the state of Nebraska. Like, we get our money direct. Like, this is a real legitimate thing. And I was like, and you have 16, 17, 18 of these and 100, 200 more that you're processing right now? Like, wow. 120,000% is very minute in my opinion, of what this project is going to be, right? And you can just see that the tokenomics of where these guys' brains are. Any project that these guys are behind, I mean, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I'm like, man, if they can figure that out, why can't they figure it out with natural gas and aluminum and all these other resources, right? They already figured it out with the big dog. I think everything else to follow is going to be, in my opinion, speculatively, of course, huge upside potential.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And one that I love is that when they launch a project for you, there's a set amount of licenses, there's a set amount of tokens that will ever go into circulation. And that'll never be changed. So what does change? Well, when we launched Black Gold, there was only, a certain amount of wells that were online at the time. Since then, as you just mentioned, we have hundreds of wells that are now in processing that are coming online in 2023. But they're not going to go back and say, we're going to add more licenses now. They're not going to go back and say, we're going to add more tokens into circulation. It's not like the dollar. They don't have a flexible approach, right, where they just keep printing more and more and more money. So at the end of the day,
and we lost him. Travis must be having internet problems. Oh, here it comes. We got him back. Travis, you there, buddy? I think he's just getting connected. Well, we're bringing so much energy to keep crashing Zoom. That's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. Good problem to have. So while Travis is getting connected here, I actually don't have the slide deck pulled up, guys. So we're going to wait for him to pop up. But, I want to mention one more thing about this project that I think is really cool, right? So people always say, well, how does the actual oil back the project? Like, I want to understand how it backs a project. And here's what happens, right? So you can imagine all of the royalties from all these different projects coming in from all around the world, right? They have $800 million in contracts in Ghana alone, Nevada, Nebraska, like all over Texas, right? 100 more that are in process right now. As all that royalty money comes in, every single quarter they take that money, it goes to a trust, and that trust's sole purpose for that specific project is to buy those tokens and burn them. They burn off that supply, which shrinks the supply, which therefore increases the demand. So as all of those tokens are finally mined, right? You're mining those tokens with those licenses that were available. And think about it, that's a perpetual mining license of that token where the supply is consistently shrinking every single quarter. Imagine last year was like $37.5 million. This year is going to be well over $100 million. Can you imagine when they're burning $1 billion a year in tokens from all the royalties that are coming in from these projects? And that's just this one project, right? So you can imagine the same tokenomics behind beverage, right? Beverages and consumables and credit card transactions and real estate transactions and natural gas and aluminum and iron and gold. Can you imagine that tokenomics where you can literally change and distribute wealth in a way that's never done before in history? See, that's what I saw when I sat down with these guys. These guys, I'm like, you could look at them and say, well, why if you have all this, why wouldn't you just keep it for yourself? Well, that's why I'm excited about being in business with them, because they're just like Travis and I. Well, when you get to a certain point in your life, you get fulfillment from helping other people get to those levels of achievement in life. That's ultimately what fulfills you and gives you drive. Their drive is to change the world, to literally change the world and change the way we transact and create real sustainable value in what we're transacting with. This is, if you guys can see this, right, this vision like I see it, you'll really start to understand what you have your hands on, right? This is a very, very big, you're controlling and creating a whole new community that controls commerce. Think about how big that can be. Travis, we got you back?
Yeah, we're back. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi here in Arizona tonight, but struggling a little bit. But I want to talk for a moment about, and I want to get a little more into the tokenomics, because that really is what separates us from everybody else. A lot of people say to me, well, how do I know this is real? How do I know this is real? There's so much footage out there now, and video footage. We've been to the wells, we've documented, we've listened to the geologists that have developed the technology. This is just one example of one well, right? This is one of our earlier partners. This was a well in Nevada. They were trying to figure out where the oil was. They believed there was still oil there. It was a well that was drilled in the 50s and 60s. They thought that it had gone dry. You can see in the green was the areas they drilled in the 50s and 60s. We brought our satellites around. We scanned the land. You can see a 2D rendering here. You can see down below at different depths, there's different commodities that are in the ground. And ultimately, by the way, we can go 2 miles into the ground. So we can read literally 2 miles deep into the ground with our technology. The pink was chambers that they were not able to find until now. And we were able to help them find a 20 million barrel of oil chamber, enough to extract 5,000 barrels of oil a day. Now, my question is do you think that an exploratory company would be happy to pay us a 5% royalty if we were to help them to go find a 20 million barrel of oil chamber they couldn't find on their own? That is the reason why we receive royalties. But what makes us different and what makes us unique, it really comes down to supply and demand economics. Think about it for a moment. When you have a large supply and a low demand, what happens to price? It stays flat or it goes down, right? What happens to price if you have a low inventory and you have a very, very high demand? Well, it tends to go up, right? Look at the housing market over the last couple of years. You had very low inventory, very high demand. What happened to the prices? So in that same way, how we are different is every single project that we have has an underlying asset. As Corey mentioned earlier, imagine each one of these projects as a separate company, if you will. And each company has a trust, and that trust has one sole responsibility. It is to take the royalties that come in from our different partners and buy up coins that are in circulation. That's it, and send them to a burn wallet. Now, why would they do that? Every 4 years, Bitcoin has a halving. What happens during that halving event? They're taking half of the tokens or coins that are in circulation, they're sending them to a burn wallet. Historically speaking, that halving has triggered new all-time highs, not only in Bitcoin, it has actually led to new bull runs in the entire cryptocurrency space. Here's the problem. The problem is this. Every 4 years, we go through a halving. We reach all-time highs. People are excited. People that are in the know, people that are educated make a lot of money. The rest of the people, you know what they do? It blows my mind how many people are lining up to buy Bitcoin at 69,000, but when it's 17,000 or 23,000, they're like, oh man, I don't know. I just don't know. It blows my mind, right? That's why being in the know, being in a community like this makes sense. So here's the thing. The problem is that Bitcoin hits a new all-time high, it starts to come down, and then it crashes. And we all sit there and look at Bitcoin for 2 years going, would you do something, please? Like, when's the next halving coming around? Well, what if instead of every 4 years, we could somehow reduce that volatility in the marketplace, right? Think about it. The reason why the masses don't want to come into crypto, people like my father are like, oh, way too volatile. That dropped like 80 to 90%. But what if we could somehow reduce that volatility? Well, here's what's happening. In the same way that Bitcoin halving, where they're removing those tokens from circulation, they're reducing the supply as the demand grows. We're doing the same thing every single month. Every single month. Because the royalties that come in, those market buyers that belong to that trust, they have one job. It's to buy a coin. I don't care if the price is high or the price is low. Doesn't matter to them. Their job is to buy up as many tokens as they can every single month with the money that came in from those royalties and send it to a burn wallet. So what does that do? What do those royalties and those burns do? The overall utility of what we are doing here is to not only bring real world value that's supporting the value of every single project that we introduce, but it's to help reduce the volatility in the marketplace. Remember what I talked about earlier. What's going to be the catalyst that moves that number from 4% to 10%? It's tangibility. It's less speculation. It's less BS that's out there in the marketplace. It's less hype. It's less Kardashians and the Paul brothers going out and getting paid to go promote these tokens and coins that behind the scenes, guess what? They've been given hundreds of millions of those coins and tokens to go pump them up. You know something else that's awesome for you about this ecosystem? Do you know that there is not one token that has been distributed, not one token that has ever entered into circulation without a miner, including the owners? There has never been a distribution of tokens where we say, hey, you know what, you're an owner, so hey man, I'm gonna give you, 100 million of these coins.
Yep, totally.
Or you're
never see launch is like that, right? You see these projects and they sell you the mining equipment for these projects, and all of the owners are sitting there just waiting for you to get those miners working and produce those tokens and start transacting with those tokens, and they're sitting there holding hundreds of millions of those tokens for themselves. And that's why you see these coins go up and then crash. You are the pump on the pump, by the way. You are the pump when you're hearing about it. So don't fall for those out there, right? That's a bad thing.
That's what makes us different in the marketplace. And not only that, but we're giving people that normally could have never participated in the minting process of bringing coins into circulation, the average person, the ability to now be able to participate. You know, it always, these people that say that timing doesn't matter in business, listen, timing is everything in business. Timing is everything. Like, I said this the other day, like, have you ever been to Disneyland? I'd rather be in the front of the line or the back of the line. Like, seriously, I don't want to be the guy that's going onto an exchange trying to figure out how to start a Coinbase account or a crypto.com account when Bitcoin's at 69,000 to go buy it. I want to be the person that created the token that went into circulation. Would you rather own the ATM that is distributing the dollar bill or the $20 bill or whatever it is, and you're getting a $3 transaction fee every time somebody comes and gets money, or would you rather be on the other side and paying the $3 fee? That's what mining is. Very, very simple. At the end of the day, you are buying a license. You are buying software. That software allows you to be able to mine projects that are supported by real world assets that are in high demand. And guess what? You get paid in the token for those projects. And that token you can do a few things with. You can hold on to it. You can cash it in every single day if you want to. You know, you can exchange it with inside of our system. But here's the beautiful thing. When you become a licensee, you get a software platform that is, it's like the Ferrari of this industry. You know, we're talking about driven, so we got to start throwing out some car analogies here. It's the Ferrari of the industry. And I want to, for those of you that are note holders that are on here tonight, drop some sevens in the chat, drop some fire in the chat. If you have a software back office and you agree with me that this is one of the, I don't know the right word, sexiest back office, one of the coolest back offices that I've seen. But what I mean about this for you is that, you know, mining in the old days, you had to go buy expensive equipment. It usually only lasted for about 12 months. That was the shelf life of it. You had to be an engineer to hook it up.
Did we lose you again, buddy? I think we lost him again. So ultimately, guys, what he's saying is you had to be an engineer to hook up mining equipment. Ultimately, you had to have huge warehouses, huge energy supplies. If you don't get them shut down, right? And you have all these miners, right, trying to figure out hash rates to get you these tokens. Or a lot of times you'll actually get, you know, duped into those paper mining where you think you're mining, you think you bought licenses. Travis and I actually fell victim to that, hundreds of thousands of dollars for each of us. And you know, you think you're making all this money, and ultimately they're just paying you with investors' money that's coming in, and they're not actually really mining, right? We've been there, we've seen that type of stuff, right? So you know, it was a very thorough analysis that we had to go through to really see. You know, Travis first, of course, and then me, right? I picked this thing apart like I've never picked anything apart before in my life, right? I needed to know everything. I actually felt pretty bad. I drilled them like I was an FBI interrogator because I wanted to know, like, listen, if I'm putting my name on this, if I'm introducing my community to this concept, I need to know that this is real. I need to know that I can put my stamp of approval on this because people trust me and they follow me here. I need them to understand, hey, listen, if I'm not comfortable putting my money here, I'm not going to ask somebody else to do it. So I need to be 100% comfortable. And I remember I left that day and I could not wait to purchase my licenses. I was so excited. I could not wait to purchase my licenses. In fact, I was trying to get them to unlock some of the licenses that were sold out for me. By the way, they didn't do that. So they do have integrity. They do have character. I was trying to get some of those black gold licenses. But they would not give them to me, and I offered to pay a lot of money for them. They still would not give them to me. So I'm just letting you guys know they are the real deal, right? And they are very integrity based. And this is a real legitimate operation. Travis, we got you back yet, bud? So anyways, guys, as you know, Travis, you know, comes back online here, I'm sure he's going to pull up the back end. But this mining dashboard, you guys, I'm going to tell you, I've been in this space. I've been in cryptocurrency for a long time. I have never in my life seen a dashboard where you can see the mining happening in real time. Right, they have an application on your phone, or you can do it right on your computer. And this is mining in real time, producing these tokens in real time. You can withdraw them. You can exchange them for cash. You don't have to wait for an accumulation period. There's a holding period. If that token hits your wallet, you can withdraw it the same day. I have never seen something more efficient and more real than I have with this project. It's absolutely incredible, right? So when it comes to, hey, listen, commodity-backed cryptocurrency, hype or substance, and we have a substance-backed operation, the only thing left to identify is it real or not? And I can tell you from my experiences, based on everything that I've seen, it is 100% real. And there is some things coming down the pipeline too, guys, that you guys are all going to be able to participate in, where you're going to actually be able to see and peek under the hood of a lot of the projects and a lot of different operations that these guys have going. Like Travis said, not only is there going to be the voting from the community, but you're going to also be able to look under the hood. You know, Joe's putting together something called a witness council right now. We're going to actually be able to validate all the contracts of all of the things that, you know, IX or Debtbox is introducing, right? Where we can see the contracts and be the witness council for Driven and for IX Global, where we can actually come back to the community and be like, we saw it. We sell the contracts. We know what they're making. We know what the royalties are. We know the projects, and we can tell you that yes, what they're earning is actually really happening, because we're going to actually be able to see that. These guys are so transparent in their operation. It was one of the coolest things that I saw about them. Most people in the mining business, they want to keep as much information from you as they possibly can. They do not want you to know the information. They want to keep that information hidden to you because it's not actually happening. Where here, it is so transparent. Travis, I'm just telling them how transparent this operation is, right? And how you can see the mining in real time and how legitimate this is. And it's just something that you don't see in the mining space. I've talked to them about our little, you know, paper mining fiasco as well. I hope you don't mind. But and I'm sure a lot of you on here are falling for that stuff too. So, you know, Travis and I are people that, you know, have, like I said, hundreds of thousands of dollars and probably millions of dollars invested in a mining operation that we didn't do the right due diligence on. We thought we did, but we didn't know enough about it back then. So when I saw Travis shift about this and, you know, fully public with this, I knew that he knew something that I needed to figure out. And once I found out that information, well, here we are, right? Here we are. So obviously, I just want you guys to take that into consideration as you're looking at all this stuff. But Travis, listen, while we have you back, I didn't pull up any slides, so I would love for you to actually show everybody on here what this back end looks like. I think that would be something really cool for people to see. I don't know if that's something we can show on a live call, is it?
Yeah, no, let's do it. You know what? There's other presentations that we've done in the past where you can kind of go in a little bit deeper and see some of the proof. But let's go through that tonight. And I apologize, guys, for the technical difficulties. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm jumping between hot spots, and I've got two different Wi-Fi accounts in my house, and for whatever reason, everything seems to be failing me tonight. So
you too can be good at this.
Yes, my first Zoom I've ever done. So please bear with me. Let's do it. Let's show you guys. Let's get into the back office a little bit, and I want to show you guys how it works and give you a little tour. So hang on one second here, real quickly. I'm going to stop sharing just so that everybody here doesn't get to see my password. I know that you guys, that would be fun for you. We'll log into Summer's account. So like I said, once you buy your nodes, the first step is you buy your license and it gets activated by the company. So very, very user friendly. And we'll show you what the different prices are in a moment. Second step is within about 3 to 8 most of your licenses are assigned then to your debt back office. Once you're in your debt back office, you can now log in and you can actually see those licenses in action. And it's kind of cool. I mean, to be able to watch in real time. So you can see when you first log in, you're going to get just kind of a quick taste of what's happening in the ecosystem right now at this particular moment in time. There's changes all day long, just like if you were watching, any type of trading that's happening. So you can kind of see where we're at right now and with each token. So you kind of get a quick glimpse. You can see your portfolio balance. You can kind of get an idea of what your wallet balances are for each one of your particular projects. If I were to click on rewards, you can see that the different licenses that Summer currently has in her particular debt wallet. Because we are a collector. So some people collect stamps, some people collect baseball cards for stored value, right? At the end of the day, anytime there's a recession, what do people do? They tend to look for stored value. Why? Because I know that if I leave my money sitting in a bank account right now, it's losing money. You can put $100,000 in the bank account, let it just sit there, and at the end of the year, it's probably going to be worth about 90 at minimum, right? Maybe I think it's going to be worth less than that because inflation, in my opinion, is much higher than what they want to acknowledge. But the reality is, if you're not putting your money to work, then ultimately you're losing money. And so for my wife and I, when we started looking at our options, before I was looking at real estate, I was looking at the stock market, I was looking at all of these things, and I realized that outside of gold and silver, there wasn't much out there to preserve your dollar right now. And so when I was introduced to these licenses, I started with 10.G, and then I realized, man, not only do I like the fact that this is holding on to the value, but my licenses and my money is actually working for me. And so we started with these 10.g licenses, and I'm pretty excited about this. So just so you guys can kind of get an idea, if you click on those licenses, and it opens up, you can see what you have sitting in your piggy bank that's been paid to you that you have not yet withdrawn to your wallet. Now I want you to see this number is going up in real time. These are tokens that are being deposited into my account as we speak. I'm not doing anything. You know, I don't have to sit here and process transactions all day. You know, this is happening 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm not doing anything. I have mine hosted through Amazon servers. To my knowledge, they've gone down, I think, like one time in the last 2 years. And so the Amazon servers are hosted. When you buy a license, you get a year of free hosting that goes along with it, so you don't have to worry about that at all. And you can see these tokens that are coming in. Now, if I wanted to, I could withdraw these tokens in real time, and they would come now directly from the piggy bank into my own personal decentralized wallet. I'm the only person that has access to the wallet. Even the company debt does not have access to your wallet. If you lose your password, guys, if you lose your seed phrase that's given to you, it's like losing the keys to your safe. You can't just email the company and go, hey, will you reset my password? No, they can't, because this is your wallet. It's protected, it's decentralized. So you can see over here that the value right now is worth 0.00018. So somebody might say, well, that's in the 1,000th of a penny. Like, can you really make any money like that? Well, we've already burned two zeros since we launched this project back in June. But here's what I want you to see. So we go over to wallets for a moment, and we look at NatG. I've accumulated about 60 million NatG tokens. Now, it sounds like a lot. It sounds really, really cool. But right now, today, that's only worth about $10,000. It's down a little bit. Here's the thing that I want you to understand. I do not care what the price is today. I don't. Like, I know that may sound kind of crazy. This is probably one of the most important things I could share with you in this presentation tonight. It's the decisions that you make in a down market and the tokens that you accumulate during that same period of time that can build you true wealth over the next 3 to 5 years. I did not say in the next 30 days. I'm not promising you an ROI in the next 60 days, 90 days. This is not get rich quick, but it is get rich possible. And if you understand the principle of accumulation, it's not about short-term ROI. People get so caught up in this concept of, well, the node is only producing $3 a day today, or $4 a day, or $5 a day. What's the ROI, and how long is it going to take me to get an ROI? Well, the black gold people, Corey, they were making $3 a day for about 6 months, and then guess what? All of a sudden, they realized it wasn't $3 a day. It was really $500 a day. Price just hadn't caught up to value yet. There's a difference in a down market between price and value. For example, Bitcoin is priced today, I've looked, about 22,000. Is that the value of Bitcoin, Corey?
Bitcoin today?
Is it? It is for you if you sold today.
If you sell it today, it is.
Yeah, it is for you. But guess what? There's going to be somebody on the other side that says, man, that's not the value. I'm going to buy that because I could care less what the price is today because I'm going to hold on to it until it's 100 or 200 or 300 because the value is based on whatever you determine it is based on when you sell. Like people, I look at NatG, and NatG came down a little bit, and people are like, oh, they start selling, right? And the thing is, they're selling, but you got to understand there's somebody on the other side that's buying up their losses and saying, I'm just going to sit on this. It's like 2009 in the real estate market. I'm just going to buy up this guy's losses, and I'm going to be on the other side of it. So what I'm doing is I'm accumulating. Why? Because if I'm holding 60 million tokens, I have 10 million more in the piggy bank. What happens if I burn 1 zero? What happens if I burn 2 zeros and I'm no longer in the 1,000th, but I'm in 100? What if I get down to now I'm at 0.01? What happens if I get to 1 cent, 5 cents, and 10 cents? Even at 1 penny, it's a pretty decent situation that I'm in, right? What if it hits $1, Corey?
I don't know, but I hope you take me out on your boat with you.
We are going to get somewhere, we're having a fun time in the middle of the ocean on a really, really big yacht. You guys get the idea. You can accomplish in cryptocurrency, and there are countless stories. Just go look at the history of crypto and more specifically Bitcoin in comparison to any other industry market that's out there over the last 10 years. There's not even a comparison. That is the reason why people are excited. But I had to ask myself, Corey, okay, well, if I'm going to buy crypto, do I want to be the one that's minting it, or do I want to buy it on exchange? Well, it makes sense that I'm the guy that's bringing it to the market because I'm getting it at the cheapest possible price. And then if I'm gonna get involved in projects, do I want to buy projects that are backed by nothing and they're highly speculative, they have zero utility, or do I want to buy projects that have real world value? Or You know, at the end of the day, do I want to just sit back and let these opportunities pass me by with the first company that's ever introduced commodity-backed crypto? And I believe that this utility, the value of them raising the bar in the cryptocurrency space, you know, Corey, you've said it, the tokenized or asset-backed cryptocurrency is that. How big of an industry is it going to be?
50 plus trillion, without question. It is the future of cryptocurrency. It's ultimately why cryptocurrency was started in the first place.
So if I believe, so why do I believe that these tokens have value, not the price where it is today, but true value in my mind? And I'm not going to say what that is because I don't want you to assume that that's a guarantee, because it's not. At the end of the day, you either believe in what we're doing or you don't. I happen to believe. So I'm a collector of licenses. We have hundreds of them now between my wife and I. And so, you know, what's really, really neat here, and I want to point out for some of you skeptics are like, how do I know you're really mining? How do I know this isn't just one of those things that we've heard about? Every single one of these is your individual unique code that can be looked up on the blockchain with 100% transparency. You can see exactly what your miner is producing. Some of us that have been through this PTSD and the fire have heard stories of, well, you know, you're part of this mining pool. And just trust this, like the money that you're getting paid every day, you're just, I'm sorry, but you're part of this mining pool. And so, you know, we can't really give you proof of your individual node that it really exists, but it's in Iceland. I promise you it's in Iceland because it's cool there and energy's cheap there. So we've heard these stories, right? This is, you get the title essentially to your node, and it's a perpetual license. What does that mean? It means that it doesn't stop mining. So what's great about this for you is that, and people overlook this all the time, this license has value because there's only a set amount of them. And when they sell out, just like we talked about with supply and demand, it now converts to an NFT. That NFT has real world value. I'll give you an example. Go look up Gala notes. They started at, I think it was $2,000 per license. Today, I just looked, they're $97,000 on OpenSea. You can go look up the price of a Gala node right now. What if you have the ability to go sell these licenses in the open market? So not only do you have a perpetual license that's paying rewards every single day that have the potential, you guys got to really become friendly with that word if you're building a business, the potential to go up, but you also have a real world asset that has value, and that value is reflected in your overall portfolio balance. Now, what if you could leverage that balance, Corey, to go buy real estate? Or you could do some of those things. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a token that would allow you to do that? Man, that'd be so fun if something like that were to come out, say in 2023, I don't know, be a really, really cool idea. That'd be so neat. But anyways, so for us, we are building our portfolio of licenses. We are building our assets. And I can tell you something, even though I don't care about the value today, because I'm not cashing them in today, I can if I want to, Corey. I don't care about the true value, but I will tell you this. If I needed to, I could live on the license revenue, the rewards that have value. I could live on that today very, very well based on today's values. And to me, that's exciting to me because I would not be able to do that if I was just buying gold. And I would not be able to do that by buying real estate today because it's overinflated. So that to me is the reason why I'm here.
And you can only do that on Bitcoin if you catch it in the right year.
Right, now you guys see these burn notices. These burn notices are what we're talking about. How do you know that there's burns really happening? You can look it up in the liquidity pools. You can look it up and see for yourself. The royalties that are coming in every single month, we publish the amount of burns. And if you're paying attention, you know, some of you guys, you know, I'm going to use Nat G just because I've been talking about Nat G tonight. And all of the projects, you know, they have their own indicators that you start to learn to watch. So Nat G, look at the amount of tokens that we just burned last month. Look at that amount. Now, here's, if you've been following to where we started to where we are now, it's significantly going up. Why? Because we have more wells that are coming online. More wells means more revenue. More revenue means what? More tokens that are being accumulated. More tokens being accumulated means what? More and more coins are coming out of the ecosystem. But what's happening to the demand? Well, here's what's happening. The growth, the demand's gone up because more and more excitement about this ecosystem is happening around the world. We're selling millions of licenses. But here's the thing, guys. If you truly understand the tokenomics, you understand that at a certain point, there will be more tokens that are being burned than being produced. And when that happens, what potentially happens to the overall value, says simple supply and demand economics. So that is something that I'm excited about. Jason said to me once, and I'm going to kind of close out on this note, and then we'll kind of wrap it up because we've been going for a long time. But Jason said this to me, Corey. He said, and we can show the prices of licenses, but he said that, Travis, in the first year, most people don't even know what they have their hands on, right? They don't even have a clue. A mining node, that's right. So most people don't realize, because tokenomics are just getting going. We're just building up the revenue of many of these projects. The burns are just getting started. In some cases, like natural gas, it might even take a while to drill 17,000 feet to the ground. Then you have to case the well. Then you might have to build a pipeline. So it takes time. But when the tokenomics start and they start to increase, pretty soon the licenses sell out. There'll never be more tokens coming into circulation, but the continued burns continue to happen. He said, then we go through that annual halving, and now quarterly halving on some of the new projects, right? So now all of a sudden people realize, wow, this is kind of cool. I mean, this is neat. That $3 a day, maybe it's now X dollars a day, right? Maybe I wasn't mining $3 a day all along. And then he said to me, by the time they get into the second year, they go through that second halving, they will look back and they will say one thing to themselves: I wish that I would have bought more licenses.
I think I can see it happening in my back end right now. I'm just kind of sitting there. What's really cool to do for those of you who are just now getting your licenses and you see it mining? I just want you to sit back and watch them, and I want you to think, if all of these projects go to $1, how is my life going to be? Because that's what I've been doing every morning. It's been pretty cool.
Yes, you can have multiple nodes. You can have, I have multiple, I have hundreds of nodes. And I have friends of mine, Eric Garrison, who's up maybe out here tonight, has like 500 licenses. So yeah, you can have many nodes. I want to show the prices real quick. I know we've been going really, really long tonight, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody's patience with the technology issues I've been having. But Corey's done, thank gosh you're out here, Corey. This would have been a nightmare if it was just me tonight. So here's the different licenses, guys. We've got DET, NatG, and Black Gold that are sold out. Cool thing is you can start mining on other projects. You get tokens in your wallet. Guess what? You can swap into Black Gold. You can swap into NatG. So there's still opportunity to be able to get those tokens. But we have Grow available. Grow is an amazing project backed by high-yielding agriculture, cocoa bean, soybean. Ghana produces 12% of the cocoa bean that goes around the world, which leads to cocoa, chocolate, cocoa butter. I love this project. If you understood the humanitarian side of what we're doing with this project and the impact that we're having with the farmers and the jobs, our projects now support over 10,000 employees just in Ghana alone, you guys. So Grow's an amazing project. I think it's one of the most undervalued licenses that we have at $2,600. Digitally linked gold. So this is an actual project. It's not backed by a gold mine that has gold in a well that you can't drill it. Literally, this particular project's backed by every coin that goes into circulation is backed by the physical counterpart of gold sitting in a vault. And you can actually request that if you want to exchange your tokens, they'll send you the gold. Now, it's a more conservative project. Why? Because if the value goes down, you're still protected by that gold. So it's one of our more conservative projects. I've heard rumors that there could be a deflationary gold license that could come out in the near future, which is very exciting. Deflationary means that it's more based on the royalties that we've been talking about on the burn side of things. Aluminum and Explorer, phenomenal projects, guys. Aluminum, we partnered with a company that's 80 years old, one of the large Ghana Bauxite Corporation, one of the largest bauxite companies in the world. Bauxite's a clay that converts to aluminum. These guys have enough aluminum in the hills that they're mining to drill for the next 300 years. The licenses I'm buying today will not only go to my children, but their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren, because there's so much aluminum and the demand for aluminum is through the roof. All of our licenses, by the way, are perpetual. They don't stop mining. They're willable, sellable, transferable. I love aluminum. I have 15 of those licenses. Explorer, I have 15, and then my wife has 15, I have 15. Explorer is the scan technology that makes all this possible. The revenue that comes in from all of our satellite technology and the new satellites we'll be launching this year will only continue to increase revenue, increase burns, and that falls under. It's the first cryptocurrency that is backed by a satellite in space, Corey. Like the first cryptocurrency, literally backed by an actual satellite in space. It's also the launching ground of all of our new projects, guys. We've got about a dozen projects currently that are bringing in revenue now that don't have a token that are falling under Explorer right now, and that all goes to the Explorer burns. Bev and Blocks, guys, that is the first project we introduced that is quarterly burns. We decided, hey, annually, let's do quarterly burns plus monthly royalties. People went crazy. We introduced this 6 weeks ago. It hasn't even hit Pancake Swap yet. The tokens are not even on an exchange yet. And we are almost sold out. Like, I think there's like 800 licenses left. It'll be the fastest project to ever sell out in history. And it's currently $2,000 for this license. Like, that's unheard of. Like, we sold out of NatG. Corey, we sold out of NatG. They were selling at $7,500 per license when we sold out. Do you know what Debt was selling them for? $72,000 a license.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
$72,000. And people
don't understand the tokenomics behind this. When these projects sell out, these become NFTs, how valuable that NFT is. I believe that there will be NFT holders that is your entire retirement, just in the NFT itself. This is your whole retirement. I mean, I truly believe that these projects are going to be so big that, I mean, like you said, Travis, one of the things that Jake and Jace keep telling you is you don't even know what you have your hands on until, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Can you imagine 5, 10 years from now, Travis? I mean, I just,
man, it's perfect time thinking. You got to start making decisions based on 3 to 5 years, not based on these short-term pump and dump, quick, try to get rich quick deals. That's where most people end up losing. And so it's really about making educated, well-informed decisions. And again, it comes back to our ecosystem. Blocks, real estate, we've got essentially an unlimited fund that allows us to be able to do some pretty big commercial deals. I mean, I was on a phone call 2 hours ago with somebody. I was on the phone with an ambassador from a country in Africa somewhere. I hadn't even heard of the country. And then I was on the phone with some other real estate investors, all on the same call. And the guys were, they're building, the developments are building in 24,000 home developments that are wanting to be involved in the Blocks project. And the cool thing about this is right now, because interest rates are up with everything, commercial builders are being squeezed by the banks. And so we have the ability to come in and provide more efficiency. We can provide them better rates. The burns are fantastic, the royalties that are coming in from this project. So if you want to get involved in real estate, Blocks is a phenomenal license to get involved in. And guys, this is just the start. We're estimated to release a dozen projects a year, at least 1 to 2 every quarter, maybe more than that, depending on where we're at. So there's a lot of different licenses that are out there. The best way to get started is just to get your feet wet. What happens, very rarely do people buy one license. I'll tell you guys that right now. First of all, most people typically come in and they want to kind of get their hands on Devon Blocks because they just launched, and Limited Explorer because they just, those are amazing projects. And so they'll usually buy, if they can, 3, 4, 5 licenses, kind of start off with a portfolio. We're seeing a lot of diversification where people are taking 10, 20% of their 401k and saying, man, this is down. I need to hedge those losses. Let me self-direct. Let me take control and let me put it over here where I now have stored value. And now I have potential cash flow and potential upside growth. And so we're seeing a lot of that. And so we're seeing people come in and they'll buy a portfolio. But Corey, what happens is people start to, it's addicting because you start realizing, man, these are building my future here. I'm building my future. Not only if I need that daily cash flow, I have access to it, right? It's there. I can cash this in every day. There's no restrictions, but I have the upside growth potential that cryptocurrency is bringing to people that you just cannot find anymore by putting a little bit of money away and trying to save for the next 40 years. You know what? That is not the plan that I'm on. My plan is in 3 to 5 years, I'm going to be sitting on a beach somewhere drinking out of a coconut. And I believe that I can do that in cryptocurrency, especially with
ice cream out of a pineapple.
Absolutely. So I'm going to stop on that tonight. We've been going a long time. There's a lot of other, videos and presentations. Corey referenced a presentation, an interview we did with Roy Nilsson this last week. And Roy Nilsson is the physical side of the company. And he explained it in a way where he really will touch your heart about the humanitarian side behind all of these projects. If you want some more validation, go watch that. If you want some more specifics about each one of the projects, we've got other presentations that we can send you. If you want to learn about the opportunity, we have presentations that you can send you. But I just want to close by saying this for you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for the Driven community and value that you bring to IX Global. I'm grateful to be working with you and partner with everybody else that's on here. If you're watching this for the first time, I'm just going to tell you you're in the right place at the right time. Whether you just want to buy licenses, wholesale, great. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. But if you want to be a part of something really significant and go change lives of others and in the process change your own life, IX Global has an opportunity for you.
Yeah, Travis, I just want to say thank you, buddy, for, spending time with the community tonight and really just coming out here and, outside of the technical issues with the internet connection, right? You did a great job. And I just want you guys to know, I have, been in this space, financial literacy for a long time, right? Not only being in the stock market and the financial market since 2012, being in the industry of direct sales since 2008, working with some very large companies, right? Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies, as a consultant. There's a lot of, opportunity that exists in the world today, right? There's a lot of opportunity that exists in the world today. I want you to really kind of look at everything that you saw tonight. And I actually want you to stretch your mind. And I want you to see, what could this become? Because this is how I've looked at this. I started to think about what this could do for my life and the lives of the people that I love, right? And I started to dream on how big this could potentially get. And I let my mind just wander, right? And I'm going to tell you something. The only thing that I had to do after that was find out, is this real? And I'm on this call, guys, because I had validated that it is real. So I can tell you from based on everything that I have looked at, this is the most real thing I've ever seen. In fact, I think it's going to absolutely change the world. I think it's going to change the world in so many ways. I think it has the ability to change every single one of our lives on this call. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're going to one of those people that's kind of sitting at the edge of your bed at over 30, watching infomercials on how to buy or sell real estate with little to no money, I'm going to tell you, your prayers might have been answered tonight, right? And Travis and I, we're just, we're guys that like to go out there and get our feet wet and take the shirts off our back for you, where we run. We've done very well in our life. We never have to be doing another thing again, probably for the rest of our lives, right? I probably speak for both of us in that, right? Get to spend time with our families and, but that's just not who we are, right? We're people that have to be in the trenches, and that's why we're here, and that's why we will continue to be here. So, for those of you who are going to be getting started with this, just want to be the first to welcome you to the community. We're here to support you in every way we can. Get back with the person who invited you onto the broadcast tonight and walk you through the process, how to get your licenses, how to get set up. We'll be doing a lot more calls like this. I hope you can see Travis and I are super related. Dude, it's right. We're not at the the super power presentation. So you don't need to be a 2-hour-long presentation. I don't think we found that, but it was a good flow, and we got through. And guys, we just want you to know we appreciate your time. And I thank you for sticking out here with us. 300 of you have made it. So I'll tell you right now, the 300 of you, you'll be the first to be invited out on Travis's yacht when that means $1. So
we're gonna have to thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you bet. We've been having a ball today. My first presentation today was at 4 a.m. for you. So this is my last. So that's how exciting this is right now. And the reason why I can't talk and I've got these little dark circles, because everybody wants, if you know, you know. That's all I can tell you.
Hey, take up on your eyes. We got some more. Hey, Angel's just waking up right now, brother. I need you for another couple.
Let's go. Bye guys. We'll see you soon.
Have a good night, everyone. Love you guys.